Jack and the Beanstalk. Chapter 1. Cow for Sale. Jack was very, very hungry. He searched the house for something to eat, but he didn't find anything, not even a bean. Jack and his mother were very poor. They lived alone in a little cottage. The only thing they owned was a cow named Milky White. Moo! And she was so old she'd run out of milk. "Can you make yourself useful?" asked Jack's mother, brushing past with a broom. "But there's nothing to do," complained Jack. "Why don't you milk Milky White?" "She has no milk left." Jack's mother stopped sweeping and sat down. "We have nothing," she sighed. "Nothing to eat, nothing to drink, nothing to sell, nothing." "Except Milky White," Jack pointed out. There was a long pause, followed by a low tummy grumble. "All right," said Jack's mother. "Tomorrow you must take Milky White to market. Get the best price you can. Easy." Finally, Jack had a job to do. At the first sign of dawn, he ran outside. "Morning, Milky White," he said. "We are going to market." "Moo," said Milky White. She didn't understand a word. They hadn't gone far when they met an old man. "What a fine cow," he said. "Where are you taking her?" "To market," replied Jack. "Then go no further. I will buy her." The old man reached deep into his pockets and took out 5 dried beans. "Beans?" said Jack. "Magic beans," answered the man. "Plant them today, and you'll see a beanstalk reaching to the clouds by morning." "Wow, that's amazing," said Jack. "And you'll give them to me for old Milky White?" The old man nodded. "It's a deal!" Jack cried. He grabbed the beans, handed over Milky White, thanked the man, and ran off. Chapter 2. The Beanstalk. On the way home, Jack looked closely at the beans. "They don't look magic," he thought, frowning. "Oh dear, what's Mother going to say?" He soon found out. "You're back earlier," called his mother. "How much did you get from Milky White?" Jack didn't dare answer. Instead, he opened his fist and showed her the beans. "What?" His mother was furious. She threw the beans to the ground and sent Jack to his room. "Thanks to you, there's no lunch for supper," she yelled. Jack hid under his blanket, feeling foolish. Finally, night came and he fell asleep. When he woke up, his room was still dark, but he could hear birds chattering. "Strange," he thought, and went to the window. A thick curtain of leaves blocked out the sun. He looked closer and saw a massive plant reaching up to the sky. A beanstalk! He raced downstairs and bumped into his mother. "Hello," he said timidly. "What have you done to my garden?" She screeched. Jack rushed past her. He wanted to climb his beanstalk. The twisted shoots made a good ladder. Soon, Jack's house was nothing but a dot, and he was feeling rather dizzy. "I'll just climb as far as the clouds," he decided. Chapter 3. Above the Clouds. At last, Jack's hair brushed a soft, fluffy cloud. He climbed a little higher and almost fell off the beanstalk in surprise. There, floating in the distance, was an enormous castle. A delicious smell of sizzling sausages drifted through the air. "Breakfast!" thought Jack hungrily. He was clambering onto the cloud when he heard a little voice. "Be careful," it said sweetly. Jack saw a tiny figure with wings and a wand. "I don't believe in fairies," he thought. He blinked hard, but the fairy was still here. "A terrifying giant lives in that castle," warned the fairy. "He killed your father." "A giant killed my father?" gasped Jack. "Didn't your mother tell you?" "He was a brave man," she sighed. "One day, the greedy giant attacked a flock of sheep. Your father rushed to protect them, and the giant ate him." Just then, a whiff of bacon made Jack's nose twitch. "I am going to pay this giant a visit," he told the fairy. "Oh no, you're not." "Oh yes, I am." Jack marched up to the castle. He wanted to feel brave like his dad. but he just felt hungry. Suddenly, the castle door began to open. Jack hid behind a flower pot. A giant woman appeared, carrying a giant watering can. Tuh! Then a giant drop of water splashed on Jack's head and drenched him. Help! He gargled. Oh, sorry, dearie, said the giant woman. I didn't see you. Come inside to dry off. She plucked Jack from the ground, set him on the palm of her hand, and saw him through the vast castle corridors. Chapter 4. Fee, fee, fo, fo. In no time, Jack was sitting on the kitchen table. One sausage or two? Asked the giant woman. Jack gulped. Each sausage was as long as him. Half, please, he answered. He was smearing butter on his third toast crumb when he heard a thunderous roar. Oh no! cried the giant woman. That's my husband. If he sees you, dearie, you'll be breakfast. She hid Jack in an empty teapot. Heavy footsteps shocked the room. Fee, fee, fo, fum, bellowed a rumbling voice. I smell the blood of a little man. Hungry are you, Gerald? Jack slowly lifted the teapot lid. A giant was stomping around the kitchen, sniffing the air greedily. That monster killed my father, thought Jack, terrified. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. The giant boomed. I'm sure you will, dear, replied the giant's wife. But eat your breakfast first. The giant soon forgot Jack's smell. He guzzled down every mouthful, then licked his plate clean. Bring me my hen, he ordered his wife. She placed a little hen on his hand. Jack watched as it clucked, flapped its feathers, and laid a shiny golden egg. Another! Growled the giant. And another! Eggs piled up on his hand, glinting in the morning light. The giant looked very pleased with himself. Then he yawned. He rested his chin on the table and nodded off. Time to escape, thought Jack. He clambered out of the teapot and dropped down. just by the giant's hand. The little hen stood trembling by her golden eggs. "You are coming too." Jack grabbed the hen, slid down the tablecloth, and raced through a crack under the door. A giant dog barked loudly, but Jack kept running. He heard the giant's angry roar and ran even faster. At last, the beanstalk was in sight. Jack flung himself at it and scrambled down to safety. Chapter 5. Another Adventure. When Jack's mother saw the hen, she licked her lips. Chicken for dinner," she said. "No way!" cried Jack. "This hen lays gold eggs. She'll make us rich." "Of all the silly stories," Jack's mother began. Just then, the hen clucked, flapped her feathers, and laid a golden egg. "It's true! We are rich!" An egg a week bought Jack and his mother all they needed. Life was very comfortable, but also a little dull. One morning, Jack was lying in the shade of the beanstalk when a smell of sizzling sausage wafted by. He looked at the beanstalk towering above. Then he looked at the giant's magic hen. Maybe the giant has other treasures, thought Jack. "I think it's time for another adventure." The beanstalk seemed much higher than before. When Jack touched the clouds, he was already puffing and panting. He followed the smell of sausage to the castle kitchen and crept under the door. The giant's wife was whistling by the stove. "Please, Mrs. Giant," called Jack politely. "Do you have half a sausage to spare?" "Go away," she said. "The last boy stole my husband's hen. Gerald is still in a terrible temper. If he finds you here, he will gobble you up." "Oh," said Jack, turning to leave. "Sorry to bother you." "Wait," she said kindly. "I'm sure I can find you something." Jack was munching on a fired mushroom when a giant voice echoed around the room. "Fee, fee, fo, fum." Jack dived into the sugar. "I smell the blood of a little man," boomed the giant. "You are imagining things, Gerald," replied his wife. "I will fetch your harp. That will calm you." As the angry giant sniffed around the room, his wife placed a tiny golden harp on the table. It played soft, soothing tunes all on its own. The giant sat down, closed his eyes, and began to snore. "Quick, go!" whispered his wife to the sugar bowl. Jack leaped out, seeing the beautiful harp. He tucked it under his arm and fled. The music stopped and the giant woke up. "My harp!" he cried. Seconds later, he was pounding after Jack. "I'll grind your bones, you little thief!" "Quick, he's behind you!" As Jack hurried down the beanstalk, it began to sway. The giant was clambering down too. "Fetch that saw!" Jack yelled to his mother. Jumping to the ground, Jack grabbed the saw. He pulled it back and forth across the thick beanstalk. Suddenly, there was a massive creak. The whole beanstalk toppled to the ground, flinging the giant over the distant hills. No one ever saw him again. With a hand that laid golden eggs and a beautiful singing harp, Jack and his mother lived very happily. But sometimes Jack found himself gazing at the beanstalk stump, wishing that it would grow once more.